phone there?
Yep, let's do this.
Yep.
So, welcome back, Teddy, and thank you so much for joining us on Spectrum Pod. But please properly introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Teddy. I am 28 years old and I've been tattooing for nearly 11 years now. I work in Nottingham at Bleeding Hearts Tattoo.
Has there been any tattoos you've done recently that you really love?
There has. So a couple of weeks ago I got to do a piece off of my available design board. It was like a little realism frog with a load of really bright watercolour splashes, which if anybody that knows me knows that's like right up my street. It was a lot of fun.
And you're going to be tattooing Lauren, if that's correct. What are you going to be tattooing on her?
So Lauren is having a paw print for her assistance dog, and we're going to add in some other little elements that kind of incorporate the meaning behind her dog's name, because her dog is named after a character from, I think it's Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So she wants to kind of emulate that within the piece, which should be really, really cool.
And is there anything you have to take into consideration for this piece?
For the piece, not so much. I basically just have to make sure that I go really slowly to build up all the tones, because I'm using a like an ink print from the paw, which has a lot of teeny little details in, so I just have to make sure that I take my time and build that up slowly so that I don't end up making it too dark, but it should be fairly straightforward.
Amazing. And Lauren isn't going to be coming alone, is she?
No.
I know you're very excited about this, right?
I am, yes. Yes, Lauren will be bringing her service dog with her, which I'm very excited for. She's not the first client I have that has a service animal, so it's definitely not something that I'm a stranger to, and it's just so fun getting to look at cute dogs all day as well as do my job. Like, it's a win-win. And yeah, it's really fun, and it's nice to be able to be that safe space for clients that have service animals, because I know that a lot of studios will wrongfully refuse to tattoo people that have service animals, and as long as you're making sure your hygiene practices are up to standard, makes no difference, none at all. So it's really nice to be able to offer that safe space for clients that maybe haven't had the best experience elsewhere.
And I want to ask as well then, is there any considerations in this instance that need to be taken into place, especially if you have any advice for someone who has a tattoo studio or is going to a tattoo studio with an assistant dog?
Other than basically just communicating with the artists beforehand about the fact that you do have a service animal, and just making sure you advocate for any extra accommodations that you might need throughout the process, because everybody's different and everybody needs different things, and there's a million and one reasons why someone might need a service animal. So even though it is a particular process, it's still very different person to person. So I think communicating with your artists so that they are aware of the ways to best help you is definitely always the best way to go. It's understandable that sometimes you're in positions where you feel like you can't do that, but I promise you, you will find artists that will accommodate you, because it's what you deserve. So
I love that. It is what you deserve.
it is. Everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves it.
And then when it comes to animals and neurodivergence, there's a very strong connection there. Do you feel that yourself as well, as someone who's neurodivergent, kind of working with animals? Do you love animals?
Definitely. I love animals more than people, I think. They're just so pure and innocent and just little bundles of joy, no matter what animal it is, even the ones that you shouldn't pet look like you should be able to, because they're just all so cute, and yeah, they're just living their lives. Like, animals don't have malice unless they're taught malice. All animals want to do is just live and be happy, cute little animals. Like, it's amazing.
Have you tattooed any animal tattoos recently, other than, you said the frog, but
Recently, yes. I did a kind of finch bird not too long ago that was a lot of fun, again in my preferred style. So it was like realism with a lot of colour and then some kind of watercolour-y splashes around it. And yeah, birds are something that fascinate me. I love birds. Our little modern day dinosaurs, they're very cool. So I tend to design a lot of birds. It just kind of accidentally became a thing, because they're a lot of fun to tattoo with all the textures and stuff, and they're very colourful, so it's like a win-win.
And one thing I definitely did notice when it comes to Lauren, when I was speaking to her, she has a strong social and political standpoint in her ethos as well. She actually recently took her assistant dog to a protest.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's absolutely amazing, just, you know, like creating these spaces. And I think, what's it like then for yourself, you know, working in spaces that do create safe spaces where you can have, you know, these kind of in-depth kind of conversations, because she's very like left-wing leaning and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. I am very much a woke lefty, and I'm very proud to be a woke lefty. I just think empathy is always the way forward, and I think helping people live more comfortable lives and fuller lives, no matter who they are, everybody deserves respect, everybody deserves love, everybody deserves to be cared for and have their needs met. And yeah, being here and being able to work with so many like-minded people and tattoo so many like-minded clients, it's amazing. Sometimes I forget that not everybody has the same opinions as us, because I'm quite privileged, I'd say, to be surrounded with so many people that share the same mindset as me. But yeah, it's amazing. I'm so grateful, because other studios that I've worked in, I know for a fact that there's certain topics that couldn't have been discussed because other artists in the studio, other staff members had quite offensive views and things, and it definitely felt very like anxiety inducing, because a lot of the time you'd feel like you were kind of treading on eggshells because you knew that you didn't get on with the other people in terms of the views that you share. But because we're all so like-minded here, it's just so comfortable and just so easy and just chill. It's just nice.
Yeah, and I love that. You guys have created such a comforting, welcoming environment. Even just stepping in myself, I'm like, oh, I love this. This is great. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this tattoo, because I know she's going to be getting it on the side that her dog stands on as well, which is even more sentimental, which is brilliant. But also, you are going to be tattooing Paige as well. So tell us a bit more about that.
So Paige has inquired about a piece that memorialises her late grandfather. We've bounced some ideas around, and we are going to be doing a little robin, which I'm very excited for. Again, it's a little bird, and it's going in my style alongside having her grandfather's handwriting incorporated into the piece. So it should be really, really fun. I'm very excited.
Is there anything you have to take into consideration as well for this particular piece? Because I know that she mentioned that the handwriting, you had to piece it together, right?
I did, yes. Yeah. So she wants the word imagine in his handwriting, and she didn't actually specifically have that written down, but what she gave me as reference is a photo of a Christmas card, I believe, from her grandfather that had all the right letters for me to be able to kind of piece them together and create the word. So it still worked fairly easily, because she sent me a really good picture that was like front on, so nothing was distorted. I could just kind of piece all the letters together. It worked well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be beautiful. And I think I'm curious, do you get a lot of people who get tattoos in memory of loved ones?
Yes. So memorial tattoos is something that comes through the studio quite often. I think it's just a really great way for people that are grieving in many different stages, to just kind of express the way they feel in a way that kind of reminds them of the person in a nice way, and kind of reminds them of all the memories that they enjoy looking back on with that person, which I think is really, really beautiful. And it gives a lot of people closure on the grief that they are experiencing, or at least like a certain part of the grief process, which is there's no better feeling than being able to help somebody process something that is such a big, like, life-altering thing. Like, I'm very honoured to be a part of that process with these clients. Yeah, it's emotional.
And I did want to ask as well, obviously, so Paige has got cerebral palsy as well, so it means that she has a wheelchair.
Yes.
I have to take that into consideration as well with the studio.
Definitely.
So what would you say you have to take into consideration as a tattoo artist when tattooing people with cerebral palsy?
So with cerebral palsy affecting the way muscles kind of contract and spasm, it essentially just means that you have to be very, very perceptive to the way the body moves. When you are tattooing someone and they either have a muscle spasm or say like an involuntary twitch, you can kind of, from my perspective, I can kind of feel that spasm or twitch build in within the muscle or underneath the skin before it actually happens. So just from having years of experience tattooing people with conditions that make their muscles spasm quite a lot, I have just kind of gotten used to having reflexes that are quick enough that as soon as I feel it, I can move away in case it is a bit more of an intense spasm. But for the most part, it's kind of easy enough to follow the body and just kind of move with the body's natural movements, especially because bodies slightly move when you're breathing anyway. So you kind of get used to the body moving up and down ever so slightly during the process. So it just means that you have to be a little bit more particular with essentially paying attention, just to make sure that you aren't going to miss anything. But it shouldn't be too different from tattooing just a client that doesn't have cerebral palsy. Obviously, it's different depending on the severity of a person's condition, but from what Paige has described to me, it seems as though her spasms are quite minimal, so I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, because I just wonder as well for people who haven't necessarily tattooed someone with cerebral palsy, but don't want to be someone to turn away someone with cerebral palsy.
Definitely.
I guess there's like so much to like really think about. So I guess essentially it's taking that time, right? And just being quite intuitive.
Yes, yeah. Be intuitive, pay attention, take your time, and just communicate with your client. Let your client know that they are absolutely allowed to take extra breaks if it is needed, and that they can voice to you if they are starting to struggle, and be willing to make accommodations for if you may need to split sessions up, and basically just put your client's needs first, which obviously artists should do anyway, but a client with cerebral palsy would have different needs to a client without, so it's just making sure that you understand what those different needs are and that you do your best to meet them.
So she mentioned as well when I was chatting to her about the possibility of using numbing cream, and I know there's this whole thing about numbing cream in the tattoo industry, and they're being like, why would you use numbing cream? When I first got my tattoos and I wanted to get numbing cream, they were like, no, come on, just go straight into it.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And I mean, like, that idea of using that?
I think the idea that you absolutely should not use numbing cream, or, oh, you're a pussy if you use numbing cream, is absolutely ridiculous. I think as long as you are buying a cream from a reputable brand and you ensure that you do an appropriate patch test within the appropriate time frame every single time you use it, I am more than happy for a client to use numbing cream. Tattoos fucking hurt. Like, they're not nice to go through, especially when you have them in more painful areas or where you have conditions that may make your body more like susceptible to pain. Absolutely use it. If the aid's there, why wouldn't you? I think the whole like, oh, you have to feel the pain of a tattoo is just a bit stupid, to be honest. I think as long as you're doing it safely, absolutely go for it. And there are instances where numbing cream can affect the way tattoos heal, but as long as you communicate that with your client and they are happy for that possibility to come about, then why not? Why not?
Amazing. Why not, indeed?
Why the fuck not?
So if I decide to get numbing cream, then we'll know.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna think about that. It's gonna be on my shoulder, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. I'm really excited to see what comes of this, and also for Lauren's assistant dog to come through.
Yes, I'm very excited. It's gonna be a very cute day.
Yeah. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you, babe.